Have you ever felt so overwhelmed by a money decision that you have Googled best savings account, opened 17 tabs, read 18 articles, and ended up way more confused than when you started? Well, you're not alone. Here's the trap that we all fall into. When we are stressed about money, we think that the answer is more information, one more podcast, one more YouTube video, one more expert, one more article that will finally make it all make sense. But that information is actually making the overwhelm worse. And today, as a previous financial advisor for 20 years, I'm going to show you what's actually happening in your brain when you try and make decisions whilst feeling overwhelmed, and why the best thing that you can do for your finances might be to stop consuming and start clearing. And I'm going to be sharing with you a very simple process that you can do to get started. So, let me first tell you what led me to creating this very specific episode today. Over the last 2 weeks, well, probably three actually, I've been traveling across the UK as MC for the Personal Finance Society's Autumn Roadshow Tour. I've been getting on multiple trains, planes, taxis, the relentless hum of the London city, like new faces, new places, new rooms, new energies to hold. And whilst I was traveling, my uncle also passed away. He was in his 70s, and actually, quite incredibly, as a baby, doctors said that he wouldn't live past the age of 20. He was mentally handicapped and had the mental age of a 7-year-old. And he defied every single prediction and lived a really full life. But unfortunately, in his final 3 months, he was treated appallingly by the NHS. And I spent hours with his sister just last weekend, actually, my auntie, listening and holding space while she shared her grief, her rage, her exhaustion from fighting for his dignity. And I was also holding a lot of space for a very dear friend of mine who's still raw from grief from losing her mother to cancer just a few short months ago. And with all of these things going on, the weight of bearing that grief was challenging. And I know that for a lot of you listening to this, you may be experiencing situations in your own life where perhaps you're looking after aged parents, or you have friends that are grieving and will resonate with this. When we're holding a lot ourselves, it doesn't give us the bandwidth, the capacity to take more information in. And I went from being in London, being in Brighton and Birmingham and Manchester and lots of different cities. And I actually then went to spend a couple of days in Stratford upon Avon, which is where I was holding space as a helper on my own EFT teachers course. And I was supporting new students going through their own EFT journey. EFT is a modality that I just absolutely love. And they were processing grief. They were processing their transformations. They were processing a lot of things. And as I started to close off that week, I could really sense there was a lot going on. My nervous system was overwhelmed. My heart was aching. I just couldn't feel anything in that moment. And as I stepped back onto the plane to return to Jersey, I sat down in my seat and I was sat next to this Frenchman, and we started talking. We just always have the most interesting conversations in taxis and on planes. Is that just me, or have you also had that? And 50 minutes later, which is basically the total time of a journey from the UK back to Jersey, we hadn't stopped talking. He was explaining to me how he traveled the world, he built extraordinary success, and he found himself really overwhelmed by all of it, by the noise, the demands, the constant inputs. And when I asked him what he did now, he was explaining to me how he was writing a book and he was writing articles based on all the years of research that he has been doing around ancient traditions. and things that he's learned about those ancient traditions, things that we've forgotten about, and really desperately just trying to find his way back to peace. And those really serendipitous moments that just happen at precisely the right time? Well, this was one of those. And I felt like he was speaking an unspoken truth that we have forgotten about, that we cannot make sensible, wise decisions, especially about money or life or anything, when our systems are in overload. So let me share with you what's actually really going on and what we can do about it. Because this isn't just about overwhelm in general. This has got really big implications for every single money decision that you make. And what's actually happening to all of us, whether we are consciously aware of this or not, is that we're processing more information in a single day than we have ever done in an entire lifetime. We are processing more content than we ever have in humanity. We've never been in a time of more content consumption. And that has its consequences. Research from the University of California actually found that the average person consumes 34 gigabytes of information every single day. That's the equivalent of about 174 newspapers worth of data. And just think about that for a moment. 174 newspapers every single day. Our brains use filters to try and cope with this tsunami of inputs. And it does it in three ways. Firstly, it does it through deletion. We unconsciously remove about 99.9% of all of this available information. Two, through distortion. So we kind of change or twist this incoming information to fit our existing perception and beliefs about the world. And three, through generalization. So we create rules from our existed limited experiences to try and speed up that processing. And the author of the book, The Organized Mind, it's a fabulous book, really recommend you go and grab that. It's by Dr. Daniel Levitin, and he's a neuroscientist. And he found that when we're in information overload, our decision-making shifts from the prefrontal cortex, this is our considered mind, this is the emotional center of the brain, to the whole limbic system, which is our reactive survival-orientated brain. And so think about this for money decisions. This is pretty catastrophic. If you're sitting down to look at your numbers, you're not just bringing in your belief system, your money story, your perception, you're also bringing in every single unprocessed input from your day, your week, your month. Every notification, every headline, every worry, every demand. It's a lot. And your whole body is trying to make a financial decision while simultaneously trying to process information. This 177 emails that maybe we haven't responded to, the article about potential recession that you've read this morning, the comparison that you've made on Instagram 20 minutes ago, right? Those memories that have triggered from our experiences, and the fear of not doing it right. It's one of the biggest questions I get asked all the time is like, I have this money, what do I do with it? Where's the best place to put it? And it drives a lot of fear-based decisions of not getting it right, not getting it perfect. So it's no wonder that you might be in this freeze mode, procrastinating, self-sabotaging, hiding from your numbers, right? It's overwhelming. And the irony of all of this is that when you're overwhelmed about money, what do most of us do? We try and fix it by consuming more information. We Google the best investment strategies. We watch another YouTube video. We download another budgeting app. we read another article, and every single one of these actions is adding to this overload that's preventing you from making a clear decision in the first place. So, what is the answer? Well, before you engage with money, whether that's checking your bank account balance, making an investment decision, or having a money conversation with your partner at home, then you need to clear your system first. Not with more information, clearing the system. And you can do this in a really simple 3-minute clearing practice. And it's quite deceptively simple. You're going to wish that you'd known about this before. So let me talk you through this 3-minute process. So step number 1 is literally to exhale everything out, right? You can stand up and do this. You can be seated whilst doing this. And just take 3 deep sighs, literally sigh the sound out. Give your nervous system this permission to release anything that you have been holding. And it will look or sound something like this. And just breathe it all out. It feels so good once you've done it. And once you have breathed that out and away, step 2 is to name what you're carrying, what you're feeling. And you can do that in your mind. You can do it as you say it out loud. It might be something like, I'm carrying all of this worry. Or maybe it's something like, I'm trying to get these money decisions perfect. I'm worried what will happen if I make the wrong decision. Right? Just acknowledge and name what it is that you're carrying. That might be a feeling, it might be a belief. Just name it. It can be really helpful to name the feeling, all of this overwhelm, all of this fear, all of this shame, all of these expectations, all of this responsibility. And once you've breathed out and you've named what's going on, what you're carrying, the final step is to just be present. So you can place both hands on your heart, feel your feet on the ground, and just ask yourself, what does my body need? What does my body need me to know about this money decision? And just wait, listen to your intuition, trust whatever is showing up for you in that moment. Because the money decision that you make from this place will be completely different from one that you have made when you've been in overload. And I know you might be thinking, but well, I'm going to forget these steps next time I have to make a decision, right? So I've created a little image that you can download on your phone, or you can save it to your desktop. Having it on your phone is quite a good idea, particularly if you're making financial decisions from your phone. Maybe print it out and have it on your desk. Just have it as a reminder of those 3 steps. And if you want to go a little bit deeper with some of this work as well, I have put together a bunch of resources, including this particular image that you can go and grab at themoneypanel.co.uk/breaking money cycles. And I'll send it straight to your inbox for you. And it's a really simple process, but it is such a great way to just clear, be present, really consider what is it that you're feeling, and making a decision from a place where you are regulated, emotionally regulated, not dysregulated. And just looping this back to the story I was sharing with you about this Frenchman on the plane, which, if you're listening to this, Mr. Frenchman, it was such a significant conversation for me. And it really reminded me of the importance of protecting our peace, protecting our peace. It's not selfish, it's the most generous thing that you can do. And I know that you might be watching YouTube videos and listening to podcasts, trying to find more strategic information and advice about what to do with money. And that's great. I want you to be doing those things. But I also want you to be doing that from a place where you feel regulated. Because when we're regulated, we make better financial decisions. When we're clear, we can serve our clients better, in your work, in your business. When we're grounded, we stop those cycles of financial self-sabotage, being really present. And there's so much unlearning that we have to do, I think, in the amount of information that society is throwing at us. And sometimes the most radical money practice is simply just to rest, right? Maybe don't make a financial decision during the week. I generally find I'm busy during the week. My weekends are my time for spaciousness and time with my family and my children. And I make better decisions when I've got that spaciousness. So maybe that's something that you can consider to add to your decision-making toolkit when it comes to money. And if this episode did resonate with you, I'd really recommend that you go and listen to the other episodes in this series, the Breaking Money Cycle series. Go and download all the resources for each of the episodes and just really notice the difference in how you're making financial decisions. Feel free to drop me a message either under this video or on my socials if you're listening on the podcast. I would really love to hear from you about your experiences of using this little 3-step process, this little intuitive toolkit that you can start to embed into your financial decision process. So thank you so much for listening, and I will see you on the show next Monday. Take care, guys. Thanks for listening.